Hello and welcome to Pravus Gaming. I am so pleased to bring you Sid Meier's Civilization Beyond Earth. It just released a few minutes ago at the time of this recording, literally less than 10 minutes ago, and I am so excited to jump into it! So let's do this. We're gonna hop straight into a single-player game. Now I should go ahead and preface by saying I do not consider myself an expert on this game in any way because it is brand new, so this should not be considered a guide. This is very much a first experience moment. I am a veteran Civ player, so a lot of the strategy might be familiar to me, but there will always be some new quirks, so you'll be learning along with me, I think. Alright, so if we're going to set up a game, we're going to look at the difficulties. Sputnik, Mercury, Vostok, Gemini. So I have no idea what all this is, but it's interesting. Okay, so it looks like Mercury is the normal difficulty. I'm going to go ahead and bump it up to Vostok, just because I think that'll make it more interesting. We're going to play at a standard game pace. I usually do quick, but it is worth doing a little bit slower, I think, and a small 6-player map seems fair. Alright, let's jump into the game. So the first thing we have to do, it is worth pointing out, there are no real civilizations per se in this game. I mean, there are technically, but really the story is more or less you're a ship full of refugees from a kind of war-torn and desolate, climate-changed Earth, searching for a new home. And these are your sponsors for your ship, and they will give you certain benefits. ARC is the American Reclamation Corporation. This is the one we'll be playing today. But they have a bonus toward covert operations. I have no idea what those are and how they work, but this sounds interesting, so I'm going to try this. There's also the Pan-Asian Cooperative, Franco-Iberia, Slavic Federation, Polystralia, Cavithan Protectorate? I have no idea what this is. Brasilia and African Union. So all a bunch of interesting bonuses. You can't really say you know for sure which one's going to be the best. For example, Franco-Iberia gain a free technology for every 10 virtues. Sounds great! I have no idea how long it takes to get 10 virtues in this game. So, and I have no idea what covert operations are, but it sounds like a lot of fun, so we're going to try this. But definitely recommend trying a lot of different stuff. So let's move on to the next stage. Now we get to specialize some of our bonuses. So we gotta choose what kind of colonists we sent on the island. Scientists for 2 science in every city, refugees for food, aristocrats for energy, which I believe is the equivalent of gold in this game, and health, which is the equivalent of happiness in Civ 5, but there's a little twist to it. I'll show that in a little bit. Engineers for production and artists for culture. Pretty cool. Really hard to say what's gonna be best, but I'm gonna go with scientists because I'm gonna try for a lot of science in this game because I really want to dig into the science web. So we'll try that. Choose your spacecraft. Each one has a special bonus, so I can reveal all the coasts on the map. I can choose a wider area for choosing where to land my ship, and we'll see that later. The tectonic scanner, no technology needed to see petroleum, geothermal, and titanium resources, so you know where to place your cities a little bit earlier. Fusion reactor for extra energy to start, and lifeform sensor reveal all alien nests currently on the map. We're gonna go with tectonic scanner. I kind of want to see all of this, and we'll get to explore the rest of the world later. And then last week we get to choose our cargo. What do we take with us? Hydroponics for extra population, laboratory to begin with the pioneering technology, and since that doesn't tell you what pioneering does, I have no idea how useful this is, but I guess we'll find out. Raw materials to start with a clinic. Again, no indication of how useful this is, so for your first game of Civ Beyond Earth, you're going to be kind of lost. Begin with a soldier or begin with a worker. Well, I know that starting with a worker is going to be useful, so we'll start with machinery. And then we get to choose our planet, and each one has a different name. This is pretty cool. You can just kind of rescan for some different planets. It starts off with either a Terran-style world, a Protean world, which is kind of Pangea, one continent, or Atlantean, the archipelago kind of map. Or we can jump to advanced, and we will see a whole bunch of different options. So here's an arid world. South is a blistering desert, and the north is frozen. I mean, there's some pretty interesting map styles here, which we won't get into today, but I know that there's a lot to play with here. We're going to try just a basic Terran world to start us off, just because this is a new Earth, after all, so here we go. We're going to go to Myers 643G and start our game. I'm excited! I was rushing through my last Civ 5 playthrough so I could get to this game as fast as I could, but... Alright. I want more. Responsibility, power, wealth. All of it. If you think I'm greedy, then you don't understand ambition. Ambition isn't a character flaw. It's the means by which I envision the future and then bring it into being. I will make the most of my existence. Those who help me can only prosper. Some wise words there from a totally non-existent person.
I am the advanced integration and
simulation and advising. Sure. I'm new to Beyond Earth. So we'll go with advice only. I don't want to have too much. Alright. So I get to choose where I want to land.
This will be the site of our first great
Alright, so I see a resource here, a bit of food, energy, which is equivalent to gold, some production. I can move anywhere within here, I think. Anywhere within the red borders. Okay. Okay. So I could place myself over here, for example, and have access to a bit more production. I could locate myself here. I'm not really sure what would be considered best in this case. I'm thinking here might be nice. It's still within range of a bunch of resources, right? I'm not sure how this works. Alright, let's try it. Here comes the ship! Yay! Oh, look. FRX. Firaxis, the developer of the game. Ha! How clever. Okay. Well, we're starting off with workers. Now, first off, I want to take a look at some options real quick. I am going to be leaving on the regular combat and movement because I want to show that off. I think it'll be interesting. Usually I get rid of that, but we're not going to today. Is there... reward pop-ups, tile recommendations, quick selection advance... I'm not really sure. I know that there's an option in Civ 5 to kind of disable the jump to the next unit kind of thing that kind of throws everybody off, but I don't really know where it is. Oh well, I don't want to waste a lot of time with it. We'll just go with what we got. Okay, returning to the game. So, we have our first worker. Can I show... Where's the user interface? I want to show some different... I want to see where the resources were that we just saw. Orbital View. Nope, I'll get into that later. Huh.
This is the Orbital View.
I'm not really sure how you do that. Is there even an option to change the UI? I want to see what the resources are for every tile. I don't want to guess. No. I have no idea. If anybody knows and figured that out, put it in the comments. Let me know. Alright, so we're starting off with plains, rivers. There's a canyon with nothing, which counts as a mountain, basically. Plains and hills, grasslands and rivers, and more stuff like that. I think the first thing to do is to start getting some food. So, do we want a farm? Generator is for money. And that's our only option. Alright. Let's go ahead and construct a farm. And then we have our Explorer unit, which is equivalent to the Scout. We start with one, which is very nice of them. There is something special called an Expedition module. We'll have a chance to see that in a little bit. But for now, we'll just explore. Alright, if you're not familiar with everything in Civilization Beyond Earth, if you see these little green wispy clouds, this is miasma. And if any of your units are parked in the miasma by the end of their turn, then you will take some damage. Aliens, which are the barbarians in this game, will heal in miasma. There are ways to get around this, but for now, we're just going to avoid it entirely. We'll start by choosing our production. We already have a worker and an explorer. I could get a second one, and that's not a bad idea. We'll take 10 turns. Alternatively, I can look for some culture, science, or health. And health, sorry. I'm going to go with another explorer because that's my usual startup. And I'm in danger of following my Civ 5 patterns too early in the game, but we'll avoid that. There's going to be a learning curve, no doubt about it. All right, so welcome to the new tech tree. Yeah, this is different, isn't it? It's a giant web. You'll notice that every scientist that you research will open up a couple of different leaves to the branch. So for example, instead of going on to a new research like engineering or physics or genetics, I could stick with habitation and research pioneering and planetary survey instead if I wanted to. Similarly, once I've researched genetics, I could move on to the next stuff, or I could stick and keep doing alien life forms and genetic mapping, etc. Which means there's a whole lot of planning ahead in terms of what you want to move toward. And I'm really not sure what the best startup is, so let's take a look. Pioneering will give me colonists, trade convoys, trade vessels, and trade depots. Okay, so good for production and money and expanding. Basically, I'm going to want this at some point early on. Planetary Survey gives me a work barge, which is... looks like basically the work ship off the coast. Okay. Yes, embarking. Planetary Survey does that. Alright, very nice. Now let's see. Ecology allows the vivarium and ultrasonic fence buildings and a miasmic repulsor. So I can get rid of miasma, or at least keep it away from my city. Get extra food. And the ultrasonic fence preventing aliens from getting too close. That could be nice, but I don't think I need it right off the bat. Genetics will allow me to get extra health and a cytonursery? Science and health, okay. Chemistry will lead to the laboratory, which is just straight up science, then recycler for production. Petroleum will be revealed, and I can take advantage of it with a petroleum well. Physics gives me ranged units. Observatory, which is extra science, and a launch complex for orbital coverage. We'll get into that later. Engineering, combat rover, thorium reactor, repair facility, and reveals titanium. Oh, gosh. I don't even know what's best in this case. Well, for the science advisor, they're recommending I go straight for genetics, which is interesting. I don't really know what's best in this case. This appears to be more military-oriented, but it will lead to supremacy, defense perimeters. Yeah, this is definitely... engineering is definitely more military-oriented, and I'm not sure I want to go straight for that. So we're going to go with genetics and follow the science advisor in this case and see what happens from that. Okay, a couple things to point out that are interesting. First off, you'll notice these things up here. There is harmony, purity, and supremacy. These are basically three ideologies, and you kind of start with those in the game. There's basically ideologies right off the bat. Harmony is basically we want to live with the planet and kind of adapt as a species to our new home and become kind of alien ourselves, and it eventually leads to some rather odd alien technologies. It's really hard to describe, but it's kind of living with the planet. Purity is we want to maintain our humanity as much as possible and kind of bend this world to our will. And supremacy is we need to evolve as a species, but it's kind of focusing more on the cybernetic side of things, kind of evolving technologically and cybernetically. And eventually will lead to basically trying to reconquer Earth and upgrade the world. It's hard to explain. We'll get into more of that later. I'm not really sure which of them I'm going to go for yet. I'm thinking maybe supremacy, but I could be swayed on any of them. I have no idea what's best. Either way, there are going to be some diplomatic penalties and bonuses if you have other civilizations with the same ideology. It does matter. So we'll get into all that later. All right. Wow, look at this. The quest log. Active completed quests. Shows my objectives. Look at this. I got quests to work on. I apparently finished Blood Bank. I have no idea what that is. Found an outpost, cultural burden. Oh, this is just showing me what it is. Never mind, I don't care about that. This shows us the different victory conditions. Alright, let's get over this then. The Promised Land. We left Earth, we would find a new world and save mankind. We want to reestablish contact with Earth and basically bring people... We basically want to save humanity and bring them to our new world. We're making this world into a new Earth, basically. And I think that's the purity. Yes. If you look at the 13 purity in the top left, you can see that we unlock new stuff as we get purity. The Exodus Gate can be constructed for the Promised Land Victory quest. So unless you're high in purity, you cannot do the Promised Land Victory condition. Transcendence is the Harmony one, and it allows for basically the Mind Flower, and we kind of evolve as a species and become kind of a hive thing and join in with this world. Contact? Let's see. We have found evidence of a previous civilization, and we're trying to find them, it looks like, and we're going to try to decipher the previous civilization that lived on this world. Domination is what you expect, conquer everybody. And emancipation is where we return to Earth, and then we basically try to enlighten them with our transcendent technology. That's the premise of the different victory conditions. Let's move on to our next turn. Wow, that all was one turn. Oh my gosh, I could do an entire episode on that. Let's keep moving forward. Ooh, there we go. Resource pod. These are basically the same thing as ruins in the game. So we're gonna pick that up next turn and see if we get something nice. Oh, look, our first alien. Okay, we found 19 research. Yay! And there's our first alien. It is an alien sea dragon. Wow, that looks big and terrifying. I don't think I want to mess with that guy. Ah, an alien nest has been discovered. Ooh. They won't be too aggressive with me off the bat. There's some wolf beetles, but I don't want to get too close to them either and threaten their nest. So, okay. There's a quest for us. Yes, thank you. Gifts from home. Find 2 resource pods to get them to finish a quest, and we'll get a little bonus if we do it. There are quests in this game, and they kind of provide a little bit of a story and a background. So we're going to want to find ourselves another... let's move this way. We want to find ourselves another resource pod to finish the quest. I could try clearing this nest. Would that really upset them? Probably. Let's try it. Move. I cleared it for 25 energy, and I got an achievement for that. Wow, there's 100 achievements. Yeah, these aliens are going to be very upset at me because I just destroyed their nest, but at least now I know they're not going to be a problem in the future. Hey, another research pod. And also some sort of weird skeleton. Ooh, I wonder what that's going to be. Next turn.
This may be helpful.
Aha! Now, the other civilizations in this game don't start right off the bat if they're an AI. They stagger, and you get to meet them right off the bat. So here is the Pan-Asian Cooperative. So welcome to the world, which I am calling,
Has noticed something strange nearby.
Sanctuary. I'm going to call this world Sanctuary because I can do that. There we go. All right, move the Explorer, and let's grab the resource pod. We get 15 culture, which is great because now we get our first virtue. I'm going to show you this real quick, and then I'll call this episode because I don't want it to get too long, and there's so much to show off. Virtues. 4 different trees. There's might, which is basically military, prosperity, growth and expansion, knowledge is science, and culture, and industry is productivity and economy. Now, as you progress through these in a tiered system, predictably, the further along you get and the more you focus on one tree, the more bonuses you're going to get. And this is represented up here. They're called synergy bonuses. And every one virtue I get in, for example, the knowledge tree, will give me one of these squares filled in. Once I get to 5, I get my first synergy bonus, which is plus 10% culture in every city. Wow, that's nice. Second one is plus 10% science, and then choose a free technology if I get all 15. Let's see, this is energy, production, more energy, food, health, orbital coverage, strength, and free affinity. Alright, that seems pretty nice, and you choose which one you want to follow. But here's where we add a 4th dimension to this craziness. There's also synergy bonuses for sticking into the same tier. So if I decide I want to put 5 points in virtue, and 5 points in prosperity, and 5 points in industry, I will get all the synergies from just sticking to tier 1. So synergy bonus for choosing 5 in this tier is a free virtue, then 10% production and energy in the capital, and then a free tech. Wow. Then the same thing happens once you get to tier 2. You fill out enough of them, you get synergy bonuses, free virtue and an agent, free affinity level, and then 3, you get 10% in everything in every city. Hoo-hoo! That's pretty hard to get, I would imagine. So sometimes it's not going to be worth sticking to one tree entirely if you can get another synergy bonus from the same tier. And you may want to balance them out, pick 2 or 3 tiers and just kind of follow them. It's really interesting what they're going to make us do. I'm going to go ahead and grab Foresight, extra science when I'm healthy. So we'll do that, because I am healthy, but we'll talk about that next time. So thank you guys for watching the first episode of Pravus is playing Civ 5 Beyond Earth as the American Reclamation Corporation. I'm very excited to continue this series, and I hope you are too, so stick around and let's explore this new game together. Stay tuned, everybody.